Hello, this is Lark, and this is Black Kids in Outer Space. Today I have one of the first bike shops I saw when I was kind of riding my bike around the Essex area. It's Urban Cyclery. I have Ozzy Hansen. There actually hasn't been a bike shop in East Orange for 30 years, but April of 2017, Ozzy changed that and he brought Urban Cyclery bicycle to East Orange. So I'm so excited to have Ozzy here. So welcome to the show, Ozzy.
Thank you, Tika. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
No problem. So the first thing I want to know is why East Orange? Why did you decide to open up Urban Cyclery in East Orange?
Uh, Primarily because I grew up in East Orange. I lived in East Orange majority of my life, and I just thought that East Orange was the perfect location for North Jersey for a bike shop. It borders the largest city within the state, which is Newark. And although I thought about Newark, I just thought that Newark would have been just slightly more than I can afford. Especially with all the gentrification that's going on downtown. I just didn't think that I would be able to afford it, and I thought that East Orange was the perfect alternative to that.
And also, you're from East Orange.
Correct. Yes. Hmm.
So that's why you thought like, okay, I mean, but there's a lot of bikes. There are a lot of bike shops around. Why did you think it was like, so what do you think was important to have one in East Orange? I know there's one in Montclair. There's some in Bloomfield. But what do you think the importance of having it? Because it's a predominantly community of color, predominantly Black and Latinx community.
Right. So yeah. So that was it. I mean, that was my primary motivation is that after taking up cycling, as a hobby, me and my wife and I found that every bike shop, there was, first of all, there's no bike shops around. And if I did want to go to a bike shop, I had to go to either Bloomfield or anywhere but East Orange and Newark. And also what I was finding is that a lot of those bike shops were priced accordingly to the demographics in which they were serving. And so I would go to these bike shops and they were, for the services and things, they were priced high. And so I just thought that, I wanted to start a business in East Orange. I wanted to start a business that would benefit the community. I didn't want to open up a liquor store, fast food restaurant, a barbershop. Things that we have an abundance of in the quote unquote hood. And so I thought cycling was going to be the perfect choice. And so that was my primary reason for wanting to start it.
No, I mean, I think that's one of the things that I think is wonderful about your bike shop. The fact that it is in a predominantly Black Latinx community, but also I think it's interesting. You're almost not. I'm not saying political, but like social justice conscious. I noticed that you have the Pan African colors for your shop. Is that on
Right,
purpose?
right.
You're like thinking about that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a subtle. How would you say? Uh, a subtle. How I'm not sure how would you say. It was just a subtle cue as to being proud to be black and being unapologetic about it, and so that's why I chose those colors.
No, I mean, and I think that another thing that's wonderful about your shop is that you seem to have the kids there a lot. Like you seem to have I know you guys have these things called ride outs.
Right.
Can you give me a little bit of information about the ride outs and like why they're important? Because I mean I know that there, especially like the teen group, there are not that many things for tweens to do. Like young kids between the ages of like 10 and like 15. You seem to be like a person that they seem to know and a place they can go. Why do you think that is?
Because we cater to those kids. So those kids ride a brand of bikes called SE. SEs are extremely popular, especially on YouTube. If you put in SE or Ride Out, Big Rip, or any of those things, you'll get hundreds and hundreds of videos of kids, young adults riding these SE bikes and doing wheelies through the streets. Um, Some of them have been on the news, not always for the most positive thing, but yeah, they've been on the news. And so we cater to those kids. And the reason I did that is because when I was thinking about opening up the bike shop, a guy came into a shop I was working at the time, and he told me about these bikes, these SE bikes, and these kids on on YouTube making these videos of just they riding these big BMX bikes. And so I looked at that, and right away it attracted me. Was because the reason it attracted me. The first thing I noticed was predominantly a lot of Black and Hispanic kids that make up the majority of the kids that ride these SE bikes. Not they don't make up all of them, but they're definitely a large majority of them. So that was one. Most of them are from urban communities, uh, Philadelphia, New York, Boston, L.A., maybe to a lesser extent Chicago, Midwest. And so, I just thought it was going to be the perfect fit for my shop, and I really thought that if I was their age now, that would be something I would be into. And so again, I just thought it was just going to be the perfect fit for the shop. So I really wanted to cater to those kids. I really wanted to carry that brand. And it wasn't shortly after I watched that video is that I reached out to the company and I found out that not only did they own that brand, but uh, they also owned a few other brands that I thought would fit well into the shop.
And I think, another thing is that the politicians in East Orange seemed really supportive of the shop. It seemed like they were just kind of like, when you open the shop, they're like, oh my God, it's amazing. Did you expect to get that kind of support from the community?
No, you know what? I really didn't. I honestly didn't even know if it was going to work. I'll be completely honest with you. I didn't even know if we were going to be in business a month or two after we opened, and so I really didn't reach out to City Hall in any way. I built the place. We renovated. Um, I did a little bit of advertising online, and then I opened up. I had some kids that were popular on YouTube. I asked them to come up to help celebrate the grand opening. And so I really never reached out to any of the local like councilmen or the mayor in any way. And so I opened up, and it was a really successful event. And then at that point, then I had the mayor come through, or the who was the councilman at that time, who is the mayor now, Ted Green, really good guy. He came by and said, "Listen, why didn't you come by and tell anybody that you're opening up?" And I honestly just didn't think, really, I just didn't think anybody would really care. So I just never thought to do it. I just said, I'm going to open up a bike shop, and that was it.
So you thought nobody would care?
I really didn't think there was going to be that much interest, quite honestly. I thought maybe with the kids, and so I really just did not think that, I really just didn't think to reach out to anybody like that, no.
Well, we have a question from the audience. They want to know: do you set up local tours for the local kids to places like South Mountain or Turtleback?
Uh, we're working on that. We're working on that. We're actually working on trying to do a tour, make it an annual event within East Orange. Part of the issue that is taking so long is that what it's so we can always go ahead and say let's go ahead and have a ride to West Orange or South Mountain Reservation. But what I found out is that if you do that, if I was to do that and attach the shop's name to it, and let's say somebody along the way got hit by a car, it would then open up the shop to lawsuits. And so I was told that it would be better to go ahead and get liability insurance in order to do that. So that's really what prevented me from doing that sooner. But no, it's something that we're definitely working on. And actually, we're working on something with the city in regards to maybe holding a annual tour of the city each year.
I would be so into that for you guys to have an annual tour, and I'm sure that there are groups that would openly help you, in regards to getting your liability insurance so that you could have a ride for the kids. Now
Right.
that that opens up another question, in regards to crashes, in regards to the infrastructure in the community of East Orange. Is East Orange, I find in some parts of Essex, the car traffic and the infrastructure is a little bit more challenging, a little bit more hairy. East Orange, I know that there is a high in regards to fatalities for people who are pedestrians. I mean, have you been talking to people about the infrastructure and trying to get better infrastructure? So, you have a ride, you're not thinking like, oh, is it going to be safe?
Um, to be completely honest, not to the extent that I should have. Um, and the main reason for that is that a lot of my time is spent here during the days. I do have a full time job at during the evenings, so it's like I find it hard to find time to do things like organize rides, advocate for bike lanes, for example, because what goes on here is that there's no bike lanes, and so sometimes when the not just kids, people in general, when they ride the bikes out in the street, they're usually stopped for not having lights or horns and things of that nature. But what are they to do? I mean, there's no, you really don't have any bike lanes. The laws are a little vague, and so um, I could probably do a better job at advocating for those things. Again, it's just really just finding the time to do
What
it.
do you mean better job? You do a great job. I mean, you're a shop. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't really know many shops that even think about that on that level. Like, to me, I'm not just kind of like, oh, I'm just because you're here. But really, I don't know many shops that do advocacy work and social justice work and regards to the kids. I mean, you're doing a lot of things. So,
Mhm.
I mean, the thing is that it's good that we're kind of getting the message out that East Orange does need help with infrastructure, so people who are advocates can go, oh yeah, let's try to do something. I
Right.
mean, I know at one point there was a riot in East Orange and the police came and all this stuff. And it was disturbing to me just because, these are black and brown kids and they're trying to ride their bicycles. They're trying to do active transportation, which we all kind of say we want it to be healthy. We want kids to be healthy. We want them to go outside. We want them to get off their computers. But then when they get on their computer,
Right.
we put them in jail. I mean,
Right.
I saw like in East Orange, Newark. Sometimes when I see the kids, specifically when I see the black and brown boys, specifically, I see them being hassled by the police. I mean, not trying to like bring you into that, but that's another challenge that which like I thought was kind of weird because I mean the cities of Newark and East Orange the politicians seem very supportive, but the police department. Have you guys ever like? I mean, do you guys work with the police? Have you told them like, hey, we're trying to do this? And
Well, I got to tell you, yeah, that does happen. When I had the last ride out, you know, I don't want to be completely dismissive of the police and saying that what they did wasn't justified. The kids are in the street, and some of the kids, they do wheelies in the street, which is no big deal. But then you had the kids that would want to go ahead and what they call swerving in front of the oncoming cars and stuff. So that creates a safety hazard, and I get that, and I think that's uh, sometimes why the police gets involved. Um, but then there were other times where the police would come and just stop the kids for having no helmets, and none of the kids wear helmets. Even if you gave them the helmets, they wouldn't wear the helmets, um, and so. But when I speak to the police one on one, they come into the shops, always supportive. Never have anything negative to say in regards to the shop or the kids. It's really, by and large, they're really supportive. I can't say um, that they haven't been or that they're harassing the kids for no reason. Just that on that particular day, there was a lot of kids out there, and a lot of them were in the street. A lot of them were doing swerving in front of the cars, but and on the other hand, there were some of the police officers that just seemed to be a little heavy-handed when they really didn't have to be. They were dealing with like 13 and 14-year-old kids doing wheelies in the street, and I grew up at a time where kids that age were doing a lot worse, and I think they really take it for granted that if all you have to do is worry about kids doing wheelies in the street, the city's come a long way. Because I remember when it was completely different.
no,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that that's kind of like the thing. It's like but what are kids supposed to do if we have no infrastructure? So
Right.
we're kind of like, I think we're kind of like this weird position where we need to get infrastructure in East Orange, we need to get infrastructure in Newark, we need to get infrastructure in South Bloomfield. But like, in regards to, your shop doesn't just have like BMX type bikes. Your shop also has like touring bikes, speed, like 10 speed. I mean, I saw a guy on your social media, which your social media game is amazing. He's
Oh,
from
thank
Bogota. He's
thank
from
you. I appreciate
Bogota,
it.
and he
My
came.
my wife tells me it's too much, but I tell her it's all business. She seems to think otherwise.
No, no, it's not. But I know that somebody came from Bogota and got a bicycle from you.
Right,
So can you
right.
tell
Yeah,
me a
that was
little bit
recent.
about that story?
Yeah, I vaguely remember. Oh, no, no, it wasn't too long ago. It was like a few weeks
No,
ago.
no,
Yeah,
about 2 weeks
but
ago.
yeah, yeah. But we get a lot of people that come from Pennsylvania, Long Island, Staten Island. From all over. But primarily to get those SE bikes. I can't say that they're for any other bike. Primarily for the SE bikes because the SE bikes are such a hot commodity now. They're very popular, and so they will come. They will travel for those bikes.
So you can't get those other places? Like you can't get them in Bogota or
Oh, you
Pennsylvania?
could, but a lot of times they sell out very quickly. Those bikes. Yeah, those bikes sell out very quickly.
So
So,
this, go ahead.
and that kid that he came and got that bike. Well, he wasn't a kid; he was a young man. Uh, he that particular model, that OM, it was an OM Duro he purchased, and that bike was sort of scarce, so that's why he came this way.
So you have like specialized type bikes. You're not just like, you don't just have your random bike. You got your specialized kind of. So this is kind of why your
Well, when you
shop
say
became a
specialized,
magnet.
there's a specialized brand. We're not a specialized carrier. So I understand what you're saying when you say specialized. I don't want to get it confused. That no, we're not a specialized dealer.
Hmm.
And so when you say we're specialized, I guess you would say that in terms of the big BMX bikes. In other words, the SE bikes, the bikes that are real popular with kids now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You seem to have like a special connection with people. I mean, your shop is new and it's like I see it all the time. I see it kind of like, I mean, another thing too, East Orange. East Orange has an interesting reputation, but I find like East Orange like really beautiful, like the houses, the
Mhm.
way it looks, the people. It's like it seems like it's like this gym that people don't know about. I
Right.
mean, am I wrong? Like, I mean, I think East Orange is awesome. I'm like, well, because I'm from Los Angeles. When I went to East Orange, I was telling my fiance, I'm like, why do you move to East Orange? I like it here. It's like really awesome. So I mean, why do you think people have this kind of weird idea of East Orange? Like, oh, it's scary. I don't find East Orange scary at all.
Well, at one time it really was scary. I mean, speaking from to a person that grew up in it, yeah, it was scary at one point during the 80s and 90s, like most inner cities. During the crack era, things got really it was really bad here, and so I grew up at a time where when you grew up during the late 70s, early 80s, I sort of seen that transition where you had um, middle class working black people. Um, we weren't rich by any means, but we were doing okay. And then you seen the coming of the crack era and how it destroyed the community, tore families apart, friends against friends. People you grew up with, you became enemies with, and you just seen it the complete destruction of an entire city. And so I think East Orange is on the rebound from that now, and uh, and so when you tell people, or when you say to people, because you're from the outside, you say, "Oh, well, East Orange isn't that bad." A lot of times they don't know East Orange now. What they only are thinking about is East Orange during the '90s, the early '90s, the late '80s, mid '80s, and so that they can't get that out of their head. So you know, you as a person that you're not from here, and so you're seeing it now. You're sort of seeing the East Orange on the upswing. You're not seeing. You don't have any uh, you're not speaking from how do you say, like a preconceived notion of what it used to be, yeah.
Well, no, I remember just like Hollywood, people kind of think Hollywood. I'm like, do you understand when I grew up in Hollywood, California? Do you understand that they were like, if you walked on the street, they thought you were a prostitute? I mean, it was like people used to get like robbed for their shoes in Hollywood. It was like it's a little different than it is now. But I mean, I think that, one of the things, did you see Black Panther?
Yes, I did.
Everybody saw Black Panther. And I think the one thing I liked about Black Panther was this kind of great, black city, but it looked like a black city,
Right.
and so East Orange is it's a black city. So,
Right.
how do you think, like, what changes would you like to see, or what things would you like to see more supported in East Orange to make it like Wakanda? I mean, that's like one of my standard go-to questions.
Well, I would say this is that when I opened up the shop, I did, I did like I hired somebody to do market research as to the, how feasible would it be for me to try to open up a shop here, and and so the market research said, based on the median income, we wouldn't advise it. If you insist on opening up a shop in East Orange, you should do it on the outskirts, on the borders of Montclair or West Orange, anywhere but within East Orange. And so, really, what they're saying is, you want proximity to white people. If you don't have proximity to white people, that it's really not worth it. And so, um, that's even after seeing that, I really didn't want to. I really said to myself, I said, if I opened up here and it doesn't make it, I'm okay with that. It's just, we lost a couple of bucks, but we'll be all right. We'll be okay. And so I paid it no attention. And to be quite honest, when I ask people, when I ask people, what do they think about me opening up shop in East Orange? All the people that were really negative about it or didn't have anything good to say about it were all black people. All the people that said to me that, it's a good idea. That will really work. I think you really need one here. Were all white people. None of the white people that I approached and asked them their opinions on it or advice on it really had nothing negative to say about it. Again, the only people that had anything negative, and I'm not saying all the black people I spoke
No, I know what you mean.
had something negative to say. I'm not saying that, but all the negative feedback I got in regards to opening up a bike shop in East Orange were all from black people. So I think that says something to how not only how we look at things, but how we look at ourselves. You know what I mean? What we think about what do we think about who we are as a people and what we our value in terms of what we can offer.
Well, I think that it's great that you proved the business people wrong and you proved some of us wrong.
Right.
I kind of think about, when Obama won as a presidency, a lot of my black friends were like, "Oh, he's not going to win. Like he's not going to be president."
Right.
So in a way, I guess it's like sometimes when you're so used to things going wrong,
right,
they want to like help you, like, "Oh, Ozzy, we don't want you to lose money on this, so don't do this here." But I think that we need people like you, and I know, like, I know you're important, but we need people like you to be like a trailblazer and to like show us, like, wow, this is what we can do. This is what our community can do if we kind of have a positive attitude. I mean, I hate saying positive attitude. It's not like, oh, racism can be solved with a happy face, but we need some happy faces. We need some people going out there and taking a risk. So we appreciate what you've done and all the work that you've done to make this shop an important part of the Essex community, the East Orange community, the South Bloomfield community, South Montclair community, to be able to see a black man, an African-American man, to have a shop, that means a lot. It's kind of like you're going to be inspiring a lot of kids. Like, I want to grow up and I want to own a shop. I mean, because of you.
Right.
So, I mean, I think that's, that even if you're not failing, clearly you're doing well now. But I mean, I think that makes it worth it. What you're doing. So let's wrap it up in regards to is there anything that's coming up that we should support you on?
So we're going to try to hold another ride out. I'm trying to sort of do this in celebration of our 1 year anniversary that we celebrated this past April 7th. And so we're going to try to sort of do a ride out slash cookout. And so maybe we can get that going hopefully within the next couple of weeks. That'll be something to look out for. Again, we're trying to organize a ride with the city of East Orange. And so hopefully we can make that happen within the next month or two. And so right now, that's about it.
Okay, well, you know what? Just let us know, and we'll make sure and let everybody else know. But you already have like, and also too. Wait, well, one last thing.
Mm-hmm.
You feel like you have like a training program too, right? Like a bike mechanic training program. I know Kayla was getting lessons or something.
No, it's not really a trainer program. It was just an internship for Kayla.
Oh,
Whenever
just
yeah, whenever
Kayla.
Kayla decided to show up, she's a very important person, and the girls on bike is very important. So whenever she finds time, that's we accommodate her.
Okay, so I'm okay. There's no internship program. Don't come to his shop asking for. Hey, I can't help it. People start coming, not my fault. All right. But thank you so much, Ozzy, for
All right.
speaking to Black Kids in Outer Space. We appreciate you. We appreciate your shop. Please go to Urban Cyclery Shop for all your cycling needs. Thank you so much. You guys, thank you all who watched the show too. So bye.
Thank you, Tika. Bye
Bye.
bye.
Black kids in outer space. Black kids in outer space. Black kids in outer space. Urban planning, walking, bicycling, and more in our space.